as the medium, I am the tool. I know that sounds crazy. I'm a tool, but I'm the tool. I'm the mastery of my craft, right? The more that I refine and heal and understand myself, the more my mediumship will grow, because I'm the instrument, right? I'm the instrument of my mediumship. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast, where practical spirituality meets real life. Hi, I'm your host, Sheetal Story. I'm a psychic medium, grief support counselor, professional astrologer, and a human design reader, and of course, a law of attraction master coach. With my unique blend of spiritual and practical tools, I am here to help you align with your soul-led purpose and ignite a life that sets your soul on fire. In this podcast, we are going to explore the principles of energy, astrology, spirituality, and psychology to help you heal your grief and create an aligned life and business from the inside out. Whether you are looking to deepen your intuition, understand your cosmic design, or transform your business, this podcast is for you. Join me each week for insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that will guide you on your journey to living your very best life. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Sheetal Story or wherever you listen to this podcast. Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about mediumship. And it is a world that I really live in most of the time. And I realize that not everybody knows the ins and outs of this world. It is a gift to be a medium. It is a soul-led trait. It is something that I gave myself when I was in spirit to help people and to help myself on this life journey. If you are a medium or you know of a medium, this show is going to help you really understand your gift or the person who has the gift a little bit deeper, because it is not something that we talk about in mainstream society, which I think is shocking to me. I literally have communities of people around me that are psychics, that are mediums. This is what we do. We help people, and we love to talk about the ways that we help people or things that have come up in readings that have taught us something about ourselves. Because ultimately, which I'm going to talk about today, this is a tool for us in our learning. So no different than if you were a concert pianist or if you were an opera singer, you have a gift that develops you as you develop it. And you are one and the same, right? It is not outside yourself, it is within you. So the more that you develop yourself, the more your gift develops as well. So today we're going to be talking about 5 must-know truths about mediumship, things that you may not know. And being a medium, I didn't want to write the usual things about, you know, connect with spirit and anyone can come and all the things. And yeah, that's all true. But I wanted to lay a foundation first so that you understand what mediumship is. So, mediumship is the connecting to loved ones of other people in the effort to heal, to release stuck emotions, and to help you understand that life continues on past the physical form. So, there is a connection by love to our loved ones in spirit. This is a truth, a universal truth. The energy of you will continue on. We call that sort of as you transition to spirit, but really from a scientific point of view, the energy part of you continues on. The field that organizes the cells that are you, that energy, as you take your last breath, moves out of the body and into the field of energy. So you become pure energy versus energy in a physical human form. So that is that energy, that is you, that consciousness, those memories, the things that happen to you in this life, that is one facet of your soul that this identity will continue on. And if you want to know more about that, a really great book is Many Lives, Many Masters. It's a wonderful book written by a doctor of psychology about, I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but it'll be in the show notes if you want to know who that is. But Many Lives, Many Masters, written by a doctor of psychology, and his journey. He didn't believe any of this was true about past lives, having many lives, a soul being reborn again, and having those memories. There's a lot. I want to do a show on that because it is fantastic when you hear about people who have memories of past lives and they know things that they shouldn't know. And there are remarkable stories of that throughout history, actually. And so he's I can't remember his name now, but that book is fantastic. It really gives you a perspective on life. I sometimes assign it as reading to my clients to help them understand that there's more to life than just this life. So, in mediumship, we connect to the loved ones of other people to help relay a message. So, in essence, we're a channel and we are relaying messages of them, of their lives. We are proving that life exists after passing, and we're giving evidence of their life in ways that no one would know, right? So, sometimes information comes forth that I don't know how I know what I know, but I know that I know it. And it's really the reason why is because your loved one is telling me, showing me, helping me experience those parts of their lives. And that energy comes into my energy and blends with me so that I can feel what they're feeling. I become aware of aspects of their soul and stories come to mind. So they trigger my subconscious to then say things and act in ways that I'm like, I don't even know why I'm acting this way. And they're like, oh, he always used to do that. He used to talk like that with his hands, right? Or even like words that come out of my mouth that I would never use. They're like, oh yeah, she said those words. She talked exactly like that. So they'll kind of impress upon you the way that they would act or that they would the words that they would use. They would trigger things. You come become aware of aspects of their life, and as a medium, I'm just the intermediary. I'm literally the medium. I'm the intermediary between spirit and the living. I'm a spirit's ambassador into this world about what is possible for us and that they truly continue to live beside us. They're just in the world of energy. And we cannot perceive them with our five physical senses. But if we move into the energetic senses, we can feel them around us. And so sometimes you go to a medium because you're like, I don't know if this is real. I would say 100% of the time, people are like, I don't know if this is real. And I'm like, oh, this is happening to you. And this happens, all this, they're showing me that this is their experience with you, and that is them. To trust that it is them. I say, a large part of what I do is just get you to trust yourself, give you permission to trust yourself. So they're still here. They're still showing you how much they love you. They're still walking beside you when you're missing them. You call them to you. And the more you heal, the more you forgive, the more you heal through lineage traumas or patterns that you have picked up, the more you release them into spirit as well. So your love, your acceptance, healing actually sends them higher into the light. So our own healing is really important, not only for us, but for them as well. But we're never doing healing for other people. We're actually doing it for us. And then the residual effect is it also goes to them too. So 5 must know truths about mediumship. Okay, so you know what a medium is. A medium is someone who channels spirit for other people. And this is a soul quality. Okay, this is a quality or trait. You're born with it. This is not one of the, I don't think this is one of my 5. No, it is not. So you are born with this quality and trait, and it will become latent. It'll come to the surface to be developed at the right and perfect time in your life. So it's not like every medium is born to be a medium, and when it comes up, it surfaces. It's ready to be experienced. It's ready to be developed in some way. Now you do have free will to push it away. You have free will to say, no, I'm not going to develop this, but you're denying a major part of yourself when you do that. So, to find the right teacher, to find ways to develop your gifts in safety with love, connecting. This is a gift from spirit, from God. So, the more you're developing your spirit, the more you're the more you are developing your connection with the divine. Right? This is a sacred gift. So, when I do mediumship or when I'm channeling, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs, period. But I don't do drinking. And I really treat this as a very sacred gift because it is. It's my connection to God. So it's, if you have this ability, it is also that. And I think religion has done a really wonderful job of portraying it, especially like Catholicism and I think even Protestant, in a lot of these Western religions that were created by kings, if you go back, um, were about showing this is bad, right? Your connection to spirit is bad. You are disturbing the dead. You are connecting with evil spirits. I mean, just like the list goes on. And that's not actually true. I connect to your loved ones. Your loved ones come and find me because they're at peace. They just want you to be at peace as well. They love you, right? When you think about, if you were to take your last breath and you see that someone is really hurting or stressed over your passing, or something that's connected to something that was going to happen, you would want to come and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm okay. I love you. I haven't stopped loving you. You know what? You're going to be okay. This is going to work out. You're going to be a guide and a protector and a cheerleader for those who are still here. You're not just going to walk away and be like, I'm out. I'm going to go into another life." Like that doesn't actually happen. Reincarnation is very rare within a lifetime, within a generation, because you're wanting to see the outcomes. You're wanting to cheer on the people that you love, right? If you think about, like, you died early and your kids are still young, you're not going to be like, "Peace out, kids. I'm going to the next life." You're going to be hanging around. You're going to be supporting them. You want to see them walk down the aisle. You're going to want to send people on their path that are lovely and amazing. You want to send them signs and symbols that this is the person for them. And you're like, "Man, I like this person. If I was alive, I would totally like this person." And you might send them to a medium, or you might give them little signs and symbols letting you know that they're there, right? You're not just going to be like out. So think about that. Really use sort of some discernment, because I think there's a lot of shysters out there peddling stories that are just not even possibly true, can't be true. So, 5 truths. Number one, we connect to people by love. So I kind of talked about that already. We are tethered to people by love. And that love is not just like deep love. I mean, yes, there's deep love, of course, right? Partnerships and family connections. It can also be neighbors. It can also be teachers, right? I had a wild reading. This was one of the best readings I've ever had. It was in a classroom setting. So we were mediums practicing on each other. And the medium who was practicing on me, she's like, "I feel like I have a teacher here." And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I know of a few of my teachers that have passed into spirit." And she said, "She was your drama teacher. I feel like she taught you drama and English." And I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. I do have a teacher that taught me English and drama in high school." And she said, "Yeah. And she didn't like your boyfriend at the time. And she said she helped you get into university," which she did. So I was like, "Well, I don't know." Her name was Mrs. Klein. She was a fantastic teacher. And I said, "But I don't know if she's passed or not. Like, I can't tell you that could be a psychic reading, because if you're working on the psychic, then you're working energy to energy. So I'm tapping into your energy, and I'm seeing things that are happening, or experiencing things that are happening in your life right now. So it's not a spiritual, it's not to spirit, mediumship is incarnate energy. So I'm alive to discarnate energy, someone that's dead, right? Mediumship or psychic intuition is energy to energy. So incarnate energy to incarnate energy, someone who's alive connecting to someone else who's alive. So that's the difference. Psychic and intuition is connecting to someone that's alive. You're tapping into their energetic field and you're feeling how they're feeling. You can actually train yourself to see back into their past, how they were when they grew up, what was their family like, what was their relationship with their parents like. You can tap into all of that stuff. So I did that in my training. It's pretty vigorous training. And then mediumship is connecting to discarnate energy. So spirit that is no longer in a body, right? I personally find discarnate energy easier because it's so fast moving, it's so high vibrational to connect with versus someone else's energy. But it's same now because I've developed it to both the same degree. So when we are tethered to someone by love, so my teacher, she said, so the medium that was channeling for me, she said, okay, so she said that she died of breast cancer, and she's going to let you know in the next 6 months. You're going to get definitively the answer that she has passed. And I was like, all right, I mean, really good reading if it was psychic, and fantastic if it was spirit, but I can't corroborate that. And we're like, yeah, sometimes that happens in class. So we're like, whatever. So no joke. About 3 months later, I was on a plane I went to Vegas with my girlfriends, and I'm in the Vegas airport flying back to Edmonton. And who's on our flight? My locker buddy in high school. So in high school, our lockers were alphabetical, and I was always next to Lester and Michael. Their last names start with L's, as my maiden last name starts with an L. So we were always locker buddies. There was never anybody else other than those guys on either side. And they're really nice guys, right? So they're wonderful guys, super brilliant. And so Lester was on my plane, and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, I'm here for a bachelor party with a bunch of guys I knew from high school. And I was like, oh, what are the chances that we'd be on the same flight? And so we just were talking, like, how are things? We hadn't seen each other probably 20 years, since we saw each other last in high school. It's like, how's it going for you? He was married, he had kids, he's a big tech VP, doing well for himself. And then on the plane, we happened to be in opposite the aisle from each other, but he was one row up. So we talked to each other the whole flight back. And he tells me, hey, did you hear Mrs. Klein died? She died of breast cancer. I was like, Lester, I knew. I knew. And I'm going to tell you how I know, because I'm a psychic medium. He's like, what? And I told him the story, and he's like, that's crazy pants. I'm like, I know, it's crazy pants. She knew that we would be meeting and we're going to be talking about her. Like, how did she know? How did she know? She knew because our trajectories were already in motion. The flight had already been booked for us to go to Vegas. Lester had already got his, bachelor party thing going on, and spirit is all knowing, right? Spirit can see that we are on trajectory to meet each other. And spirit knows that Lester knew that she had passed into spirit. So she knew, and even if she didn't know, she could be there and influencing Lester to tell me about her. Right, because we were talking about all of the things about high school. Of course, we start to make our way through the teachers and who do we know where they were and are they still alive and all the things. And sure enough, Mrs. Klein came up. So cool story. She's tethered to me by love. She still comes to class a lot. She was a pivotal person, in terms of teacher. I would say she was like the teacher for me in high school that really made a difference. And she comes to my readings, but I didn't even know that she was like tethered to me by love, because she's just a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't think that when you think about people you love. I don't know, if you had a really wonderful teacher, you might think of them, but Mrs. Klein was not one of the people I would have thought about unless I had a mediumship reading that told me so. So sometimes if you were to get a mediumship reading, something you might not know is that people can come into that reading that you had forgotten about or didn't realize that you had a love connection with, like a neighbor or a childhood best friend or somebody. I often get this is someone you went to school with that took their own life, and they want to come and say what an impact you made on them. All right, number 2, mediums can use their abilities in different ways. So a psychic medium isn't just, we see Teresa Caputo on TV, we think of readings, one-on-one readings. Another way to use it is we call it platform mediumship or gallery reads, where we read for a number of people in the audience. So not everyone gets a reading, but it is so poignant that whatever messages come out, there is sort of universality with them. There's something you will take away from that. Groups come together in perfect formations. So I love gallery reading. I think that is so fun. But one of the challenges of gallery reading as a medium is you've got to find your recipient. So there's one spirit person coming in, and they're coming in for one person in the audience. Sometimes more than one person in the audience can understand the information. So a really good medium has to be very specific and get to the right person. Now, can one or two or more spirits come together to kind of try to speak to as many people as possible? It's really hard as a medium when that happens. I actually witnessed that once, where there was 3 guys that died on a motorcycle in a motorcycle accident, and they came for their moms in the audience. So there were three moms that had lost their sons, and each spirit actually talked about something very specific that only their moms would know. So it wasn't like all the three moms could understand all the information. It was, I have three moms here who have sons who have passed from motorcycle accidents. They stood up, and then it was like, your son is this, your son is this, your son is this. Yes, but if we had said your son is this, that person, like, you couldn't. They were very specific afterwards. So they were coming together because they had a common bond, but they each had a reading that was specific to them. So being discerning as an attendee to understand it's not vague. It's not going to be like, all your sons are here, they all want to send you love, they all say that the accidents weren't the best, and uh they love you. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like, and you got a tattoo in memory of him, and you had a memorial for him, and there was a bike, um a bike, the word is parade, in his honor. Those are, going to be very specific things that not everyone is going to relate to. So mediums can use their abilities in different ways. So they can be spiritual retreat facilitators, right? I love facilitating retreats and events, using my psychic mediumship stuff, because that then helps people. I get to pair people together. I can see when someone's uncomfortable. I love attending retreats as well, because then I can use my gifts that way too. Grief counseling, I 100% use my mediumship in grief counseling. Coaching, I use my psychic-ness in coaching. I've helped a lot of my clients see around corners, get out of bad investments, protect themselves from bosses that were sabotaging them, get out of relationships before something really bad happened. There is lots of ways that I can see momentum and help to prevent things getting worse, if you are willing. Like, if you are willing to do that. So even with the investor, I have a client that they were doing some investing, and I said, don't invest. I feel like there's a guy coming in that you're going to invest with. He's really bad news. Just wait. If you wait one more week, you're going to hear about how he is not a very good person, and you will have saved yourselves hundreds of thousands of dollars. So she agreed to wait, and then he was indicted the next week. So wild. I just get a feeling, and I'll say it. Missing persons, as one of the things I had to do in getting my certification as a medium is I had to work on missing persons cases. I personally do not like that. That is not my gift, because you are reliving some of their last moments. You can feel where they are, so you can sometimes use a pendulum and find them on a map, locating them. But you have to have very specific evidence, because working with the police, they can't admit what you give them in a court of law. So they have to trace it back and then find the evidence that they can present in court. So you have to be very careful, in terms of working with police and police working with a medium. And I used to work with a group of mediums where you would locate people, but it's not my strong suit. I'm not really good at it. And I'm very thankful that I'm not good at it, because I just don't enjoy that kind of work, although it's really important work, and the people who do it, hats off to them. Also, clearing houses. So, energy in houses, or energy of spaces too. I knew a medium who would travel around the world and clear battlegrounds. So, a lot of times, especially like in Europe, where there's been really bloody battles, there can be spirits that are kind of roaming the woods or roaming those places that they feel kind of lost. They've chosen to be closer to the earth's vibration versus moving into spirit for whatever reason. So you can actually go as a medium and clear those spirits, cross them into the light if they want to, but spirit always has free will. So if they're not ready to cross into spirit, then they won't. They'll just stay more connected to the land. And then, of course, the usual one-to-one readings, gallery readings, healer, and then the other one is a paranormal investigator. I find these paranormal investigator shows really, really annoying, because they'll go in and they'll disturb the spirits, especially in like haunted houses or abandoned buildings or asylums or jails. And then they don't do anything to help the spirit. They won't do anything to actually help them cross. So they stir them up, they get them all riled up, and then they leave. right? It's almost like a game for them to see how much information they can sort of get on camera. And, they're not really helping any spirits. So, as an ambassador for the spirit world, my job is to help spirit. So, how can I help spirit if, I see these paranormal investigators? There is one show that I really, really love, and I can't remember. I think it's called like Haunted Ireland and Haunted Scotland, where there is a medium, Chris. I can't remember his last name, and they'll go and they clear the energy. So if there are ghosts, spirit that is stuck there and they want to leave, they will let him know, and then he will cross them into the light. Which love that, because we're here to help more spirit go higher into the light, right? We're healing on both sides of the veil. So we're not just healing ourselves, we're also healing spirits that are here. So mediums can use their abilities in very different ways. And one of my favorite ways as well is as a death doula. So a death doula is someone that stewards the spirit across the veil. So if you think about a doula, like a birth doula, they're birthing babies, so spirit coming in, and then a death doula is spirit leaving. So they'll sit with you, they'll sit with the spirit as you're transitioning. They'll hold the energy, hold the space. As a medium, holding space for transitions, I've done that as well, and it's very sacred work, because as the spirit is transitioning, the vitality, again, as I've mentioned on the previous episode, is moving more into energy and less into the physical body. So the energy of the body is starting to dwindle. So we start to see things shutting down, energy not moving as well, gangrene setting in, limbs turning black. The energy is not there to flow everything together. So that time can be kind of scary for the people who are here in life, and also that are transitioning, the person who's transitioning. So I often will meet with people who are transitioning to spirit. I've met with a couple of people who are, they have a fatal diagnosis, and I'll just talk to them about what happens with spirit, and you never cross by yourself. So there's always loved ones about. And if you can pay attention, you can feel them, you can smell them. A lot of time, every time, I'll be able to tell them who is there waiting for them when they cross over. I can also be a source of information for the people who are still here as well, that are navigating transition and end of life. End of life is one of the hardest things to go through, because you can see the vitality is dwindling. You can see that they are dying, and it's a waiting game, right? You're literally just waiting for them to take their last breath. And there's these conflicting emotions within you. There's the emotion of, you don't want them to leave. You don't want to lose hope. There's still a piece of hope that you're hoping that everything is going to get better, and they're still going to walk out of here. And then there's the other side of it, is you just don't want them to be in pain anymore. So you want it to be over as quickly as possible. So I hear often from where I'm kind of helping to steward the soul across the veil, is this real confliction between, I want them to stay and I want them to go, and a guilt. The guilt that can come with that. I really want them to go. I want them to go and be peaceful and not be in pain anymore. But of course, I don't want them to go because I love them. And I actually was talking to an uncle who is transitioning, and he was saying, it's so hard, because he said, I've accepted my diagnosis, I know I'm going to die from cancer, but my family is holding on to hope. And I feel like in that holding on to hope, they're trying to hold on to hope because they're trying to show me that they love me, but there's also love and acceptance. And it's hard to say to someone to just accept the diagnosis and love them and use as much time as you can with them when you can, and to not hope. Because I think as hope, we use hope a lot in as love, because if I hope for you, it means that I love you, and if I don't hope for you anymore, then it means I don't love you, or I've given up on you. But really, acceptance can be as beautiful as hope. It's as beautiful, right? All right. It is a two-way communication. Number 3 on 5 must know truths about mediumship. It is a two-way communication. So I can tell spirit, I want to know about how you died. I want to know about how old you were. I want to know something funny about you. I want to know something that's happening in their life right now that only you would know. I can say that to spirit, and then spirit can let me know what those are if I'm listening. That's the key, right? So as a medium, I have to fully surrender to spirit. I have to be open to listening to whatever they want to share with me. And so, me directing spirit, we call that the checklist approach, which is not bad or good. It just is, where you can just, you see certain mediums have a checklist approach, right? Tell me something about what's happening right now, something uplifting. Tell me about how you died. Tell me something that helps heal this person. And then tell me something only they and you would know, right? So, that's actually Teresa Caputo's formula. That is the four things that she asks for. When you notice all her readings, they follow that step form. The way that I was taught to read is that you listen to the spirit, right? You listen to the story of spirit. They are going to tell you what's important, right? Who's going to know better their loved one? Is it me or is it them? It's them, right? They're going to know what their loved one needs to hear. They're going to know the poignant story to tell. And in that story is going to be all the elements of the message that they want to convey. Right. And sometimes the message is, I love you and I'm here. That's it. Right. So it could be more to that message, it could be less. But it's always poignant. I mean, we're connecting to the dead. Like, I just want you to think that's pretty powerful stuff. Right. So sometimes it's not this big elaborate message. Sometimes it just is, I love you. And that's really powerful in itself. Right. So it is a two-way conversation. But again, are we interrogating spirit? Like, if you were to die and come back and want to talk to your loved one, would you want me to be interrogating you? Tell me these four things. Or would you be like, girl, just listen. I just got things to say. I know what to say to my loved one. Just listen to me and I'm going to tell you all the things, right? So it's really those two schools of thought, right? Who knows best what their loved one needs? Spirit or you as the medium? It's always spirit. So listening to spirit is really, really important. Number 4 of the 5 must know truths about mediumship, and it is mediumship requires discipline and personal development. If you are going to a medium that does zero personal development and zero discipline with themselves, their mediumship probably going to be the same, right? It is such a powerful tool because as the medium, I am the tool. I know that sounds crazy. I'm a tool, but I'm the tool. I'm the mastery of my craft, right? The more that I refine and heal and understand myself, the more my mediumship will grow because I'm the instrument, right? I'm the instrument of my mediumship. So the more personal development I do in terms of healing myself, really acknowledging the biases I might have within me. Because if, like, let's give the example of if I was going through a divorce, which I'm not, but if I was going through a divorce and now I'm reading for someone who had a divorce loved one in spirit, I might project onto that divorcee the things that I'm going through if I don't heal that or if I don't become aware of that. So we can have a lot of these kind of subconscious things that come up in our mediumship, and we have to be very cognizant of what those are because we are a blank slate. It is really important in our discipline that we understand how to meditate, how to clear our minds, and how to be a blank slate for spirit. Because if I don't create a blank slate, what will happen is spirit will try to, help me learn something about their life. So let's say it's grandmother coming to speak to you, and your grandmother used to bake the best chocolate chip cookies. She is known for her chocolate chip cookies in the family. She has a secret recipe that she wrote down and only gave to one person, and that secret recipe, that person has not been using it. And she wants to say to you, my chocolate chip recipe is with Aunt Martha. Go get it. I want you to make the recipe because Aunt Martha's not doing it. If I am not a disciplined medium, I could make that a oatmeal cookie. I could make Aunt Martha Uncle Marvin, right? I could get that whole thing messed up and say it's a toy truck, right? Aunt Martha has a toy truck. Do you remember a toy truck? And she'd be like, I don't understand what toy truck. What are you talking about? Right? Or I understand she used to bake. And then if I'm not a disciplined medium, I would just leave it vague, right? You used to bake with your grandmother. Your grandmother has some recipes in the family. Amazing, right? I could leave it there instead of going deeper with the recipe because that we call it the golden nugget, right? Like that is where you're like, oh my God, this is my grandmother. Like that is, as a medium, feels really satisfying if I'm being honest, because then I know it's your grandmother. I'm not making shit up. I'm not trying to get, just kind of grasp at information. I'm telling you something that I'm experiencing from your grandmother because she is here. Right. And that's the goal of mediumship reading, is for you to not even see the medium. It's really like, your loved one is here. That's it. And you know that they love you and they came today to give you a message. that is the goal of mediumship. It's not to see me, it's not to remember me. It's not at all theatrical. It's meant for you to have one more connection with your loved one, right? So discipline is required. And we also, as a medium, that discipline means we have boundaries with spirit. I'm not just reading spirit everywhere I go, because I'm here to live a life too, right? I'm a mother. I'm a wife to an amazing husband. I have friends. I go out and have a glass of wine. I'm not going to be reading people in the restaurant. Number one, because I'm drinking, so that's not honoring my sacred gift. And number two, no one's asked me. Like, this isn't a reading situation. This isn't like a fair, someone was given me money to read for them, or a reading where they're coming to me for a specific reason, right? So I have to honor boundaries of the people in life, and in spirit, they have to honor my boundaries as well, because I can't just be going everywhere reading people. Now, I know on TV that makes it look really wonderful. And once you cross that boundary in spirit, then spirit will realize, hey, she has no boundaries. We'll just go everywhere she goes. We'll just come to her and she has to read for us. Right. And that is not actually the case, right? You can't, as a doctor, go around and treat everybody on the street. Hey, I see that you're limping here. Can I take a look at your leg? Like, no one's asked you that. Like, there's a liability involved with that. If I go up to someone in a deli, someone who's working, let's say in a deli, and I'm like, hey, your grandmother's coming to me. She wants to give you a message. And now this woman is crying. She can't work her shift. They sent her home and she drives, and on the way home, she gets into an accident because she can't see properly because she's crying so hard, right? Like, I am responsible for that. So there is a lot of integrity and a duty to do no harm with this too. So that's part of discipline and personal development as well, is to know that you're here to do no harm. So all of my readings are meant to uplift. Even if I'm giving you hard information that's hard to receive, I can still see that there's an opportunity here. Like, your soul wouldn't just give you hard lessons to push your face in the mud. Like, there's something happening on the other side of it. I have had to deliver information where I felt like that person wasn't going to have a baby. She wanted to know if she was going to have a baby. And I'm like, I do not see you having a baby. Like, I feel like your uterus is not able to hold a baby. It just feels like it can't sustain life. But I do feel like you're going to be a parent to a surrogate child or an adoptee. So you will become a parent, just not in the traditional sense of having the baby yourself. And she's like, well, that's not possible. We're not going down that route. And I said, I hope I'm full of shit. I really do. And I hope that you don't believe anything that I said and you continue to try and try and try and try. And the path will lead you where you need to go. Right. I say that to you all the time, like my clients all the time. You don't need a reading. You just need to trust yourself and move forward in your life. You really do. I just give you permission to do that. So she did that. 3 years later, she had a baby through surrogate. So happy. She's meant to be a mom. She is such a great person. And I don't want them to lose hope, but I truly did not see her having a baby through her own body. It just wasn't possible. And when we talked further about it after the reading, she did say that the doctor had said her uterus just wasn't holding a baby. And I was like, well, that's what I said, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to be a parent, right? There are other paths to parenthood. So that was, my job is to uphold, their dreams, but to show them their dreams in another way, right? It's meant to pivot. Sometimes you're just meant to pivot. And as a psychic medium and a trained coach, my job is to inspire and excite and enlighten you for what's coming versus feeling like there's no hope, right? No. If you're going to a medium or a psychic and you're feeling like there's no hope and that was the worst reading ever, guess what? You probably went to someone who is not very developed, doesn't develop themselves, or doesn't understand the do no harm principle, which is one of the keys to being a psychic medium. And then number 5, must know truths about being a medium is it is invigorating. It is invigorating. Number one thing I put this topic into Chat GPT because I just wanted to see what Chat GPT would say. And it came back as mediumship is very draining. I thought that was hilarious because if you see me after I do a reading or after I do like a gallery read, I could tow a car home. Like I am so excited. I can't go to bed till 3 in the morning. Like the energy surging through me is so high vibrational. Like I swear I probably could heal a bunch of people. Like it just feels like I'm walking on clouds because I am living my soul's purpose with boundaries. I'm living my soul's purpose with boundaries. So I'm channeling spirit's energy from spirit. You know, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're seeing that I'm like kind of showing that the energy is coming from the sky into my head. And it's sort of the way that I think about it because energy is so high vibrational when it comes from spirit. So as I'm channeling that energy and bringing it into me, and then bringing it down through my body into my feet, into the ground, growing true roots, and wrapping itself around a boulder deep within the earth. So I'm tethered into reality. I'm grounded, but I'm also an antenna for spirit. And that, because I'm channeling such high vibrational energy and I'm giving messages of love, it is so uplifting. You know, it's not draining at all. It actually is. I'm living my soul's purpose, right? I'm sitting within the seat of my soul as I do this work. So it is invigorating. It's enlivening. It makes me feel so good afterwards that, and even when I'm doing it, I mean, even when I'm doing it, it's almost like I've stepped out of myself and I'm allowing my spirit to run the show. It's a practice, let me tell you. Like it's not easy to surrender, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, right? It's like a muscle. The same thing with training your intuition. So as a medium, when I am doing work, when I am doing my soul's purpose, even if you see me like at a retreat or at a conference, afterwards I feel so excited because I get to help people. And as I tap into you and steward you in the direction of your soul, I get to feel amazing with that because I'm living my soul's purpose in doing so. So, those are the 5 things, a recap. So, 5 must-know truths about mediumship. People are tethered to you by love, and it doesn't matter how long ago, they are always going to be tethered to you by love. And it might not be someone that you remember or think about off the top of your head. And it can even mean grandparents or great grandparents who maybe didn't get to meet you but heard about you and died before they got to meet you or see you, or their ancestors that are tethered to you by love, and you have a karmic cycle that they are completing. So you are tethered to people in your lineage by love too, even though you haven't met them. Number 2, mediums can use their abilities in different ways. And we talked about the different professions that mediums can take on. Number 3, spirit communication is a two-way street. So we can ask spirit questions and they can answer and they can tell us things and we can ask for clarification. Now, how clear does that sound is how tuned in you are. Sometimes it's really clear and sometimes it's really murky. And it has nothing to do with how good the medium is. It can be about the day, it can be the energy of the person, it can be the spirit person's energy. There's a lot of factors that make a relationship, a good communication channel, a good relationship channel, you know? So whether that they've got their energy in check, or there's guides on the other side that are helping, or that you're having a good day, or that the client is having a good day, right? The energy of all three have to come together for a perfect session. So it's not always easy. I'm going to have to say I don't always do a really good job of listening to spirit, and it's something that I'm working on even within myself. Number 4, being a medium requires discipline and personal development. The more we discipline, the more we refine our instrument, the better our communication will be. And then number 5, it is invigorating and it is a fulfilling soul purpose that gives me energy. So, any mediums, this is their job to do it. It gives them energy, it gives them purpose and meaning in their life. If you have this soul quality, this is meant to be developed and you can use it in many different ways. It's not just for readings, it's not just for gallery reads. You can help people cross over, you can help in grief counseling, you can help with spiritual retreats, you can do coaching with it. Like there is so many ways that you can use this wonderful quality. And if you have this soul quality and you don't develop it, there will be an opportunity to do it again in your next life. So whether you do it now or you do it again in another life, but the more you deny this part of yourself, the more you are denying God, the more you're denying a really important part of you that needs to come to the surface. So it's meant to, right? There's a larger design and blueprint in play here than you might know. And I always it's been interesting. I meet many, many entrepreneurs that are very intuitive or that have the ability to read spirit and are scared of their gift. And so that in itself is a healing journey, isn't it? To accept all parts of you and not to feel ashamed or scared of all the parts of you. Because I think it's Marianne Williamson that says our greatest fear is how powerful we are. I totally butchered that, but I know it's something along those lines. It's how powerful you truly are. So, why are you scared of your gift? Why not master your gift so that you can help the most amount of people that you're meant to help, right? So, thank you for being here. I hope this has helped you, opened your mind to something. This idea for this show dropped in over the holidays, and it really doesn't make sense with what's going on in my life or in the business, but I felt like I really needed to talk about this on this show. This one has gone over 40 minutes because it's really quite channeled. So if this show has helped you in some way or feels like it's touched something in you, please leave a comment below wherever you're seeing this. I know there's no comments allowed on Spotify, but you can message me, even just send me an email. Just let me know if the show touched you. I'm so curious that this one was very led by spirit, and I'm just curious as to who it was meant to help. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you from my heart to yours, sending you so much love. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Story of Spirit podcast. I hope you have found inspiration, support, and practical insights to help you align with your soul-led purpose and live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and continues to provide valuable content. I sincerely appreciate every share, and I know it is how most people find me. It is because caring people like you have shared me with them at the right and perfect time. For more resources, insights, and to connect with our community, please visit us at www.sheetalstory.com and follow us on Instagram at sheetalstory. Remember, your journey to a more aligned and vibrant life is just the beginning, and I am here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful light. This is Sheetal Story, signing off from the Story of Spirit podcast. Here's the legal ease that's required by our lawyers. This podcast and the YouTube channel represents the opinions of Sheetal Story and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical, psychological, or financial advice. This series is informational and entertainment purposes only. Because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional, your mental health dream team, your financial advisor, or anyone else that's an expert in the field in where you are thinking of making big choices in your life.